The second key to peak performance selling is courage. Top salespeople work continually to confront the fears that hold most salespeople back. The two major fears that stand as the greatest obstacles on your road to success are the fear of failure and the fear of criticism or rejection. As it happens, it is not failure or rejection that hurts you or holds you back. It's the fear of failure or rejection. It is the anticipation of fear or rejection that paralyzes you and holds you back from doing what you need to do in the first place. Here's what I learned as a young salesperson. Everyone is afraid. The difference between the hero and the coward is that the hero is brave just a couple of minutes longer. Everyone you meet is afraid of failure and rejection. But the brave person confronts the fear and does it anyway. The average person, on the other hand, moves away from the fear and avoids the fear-causing situation. Glenn Ford, the actor, once said, "If you do not do the thing you fear, then the fear controls your life." Ralph Waldo Emerson said his entire life was changed when he read the words, "If you would be a success in life, make a habit throughout your life of doing the things you fear." He went on to say, "When you do the thing you fear, the death of fear is certain." Here are the most powerful words you can use to overcome your fears of failure and rejection. Just say to yourself over and over again, whenever you start to become nervous or anxious about anything, "I can do it. I can do it. I can do it." And here's the good news. The more you repeat the words, "I can do it," the lower are your fears and the higher is your self-esteem and self-confidence. When you say the words, "I like myself. I'm the best. I can do it," you raise your self-esteem and self-confidence to the point where you feel unstoppable. And this is the mindset of the high-performance salesperson. The third key to peak performance selling is commitment. Top salespeople believe in their companies. They believe in their products and services, and they believe in their customers. Especially, they believe in themselves and in their ability to succeed. There's a direct relationship between your level of belief in yourself and the goodness of your product or service and your ability to convince other people that it is good for them. Sales has often been called a transfer of enthusiasm. The more enthusiastic and convinced you are about what you are selling, the more contagious this enthusiasm is, and the more your customer picks it up and acts on it. We know today that caring is the critical element in successful selling. You've heard it said that they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. What we also know is that the more you love your work, the more committed you are to your company and to your products and services, the more you will naturally and honestly care about your customer and care about helping him or her to make a good buying decision. And since you become what you think about most of the time, keep repeating the words, "I love my work. I love my work. I love my work," over and over again. All top salespeople like themselves and love their work, and their customers can feel it. And as a result, the customers want to buy from them and buy from them again and recommend them to their friends. Key number 4 to peak performance selling is professionalism. Top salespeople see themselves as consultants rather than as salespeople. They see themselves as advisors, as helpers, as counselors, and as friends. They see themselves as problem solvers for their customers. Perhaps the most important single determinant of whether or not someone buys from you is how that person thinks about you in the back of their mind. In marketing, this is called positioning. The position you have in the heart and mind of your customer is contained in the way that your customer thinks about you and talks about you when you're not there. Many tens of thousands of customers have been asked how they think and feel about the top salespeople who sell to them. The number one answer that customers give is that they see the best salespeople more as consultants than as salespeople. They see them as valuable parts of their personal and business lives. They trust them to give them good advice in their area of specialization. And once a person sees you as a consultant and as a friend, they will never buy from anyone else, no matter what the differences are in price or small differences in quality or features. Here's something I learned as a young salesman that changed my life. It is the psychological fact that people take you at your own evaluation of yourself. In other words, whatever you say about yourself, people believe and accept. They then watch your behavior to make sure that what you do and what you say are consistent with each other. When I learned this, at my very next appointment, I said to my prospect, "Thank you for your time. Please relax. I'm not really here to sell you anything. I see myself more as a consultant than as a salesperson, and all I really want to do is to ask you a couple of questions and see if my company can't help you in a cost-effective way. But I see myself more as a consultant than as a salesperson." And from the very first time I described myself as a consultant, my customers treated me differently. They invited me in for coffee and invited me out for lunch. They listened to me far more closely and were far more open with me when I asked them questions about their needs. They bought from me far more readily and recommended me to their friends. They invited me home to have dinner with their families, and they placed me in an entirely new category in their minds. And I was only 23 years old. From now on, think of yourself as a consultant. Walk, talk, and behave like a consultant. When people ask you what you do, you tell them, "I am a consultant." I gave this advice to the manager of a company that sold roofing and shingles not long ago. He went back to the office, gathered up everyone's business cards, and replaced them with business cards that had the word consultant on them. And he told me that in the following month, the whole atmosphere in his company changed. Not only that, but their sales went up 32%. Everyone began acting differently toward each other and toward their customers when they saw themselves as consultants. Remember the rule of self-image psychology. The person you see is the person you will be. Your self-image, the person you see yourself as on the inside, will determine how you behave on the outside. The fifth key to peak performance selling is preparation. The highest paid salespeople review every detail before every sales call. Preparation is the mark of the professional in every field. There are 3 parts to preparation if you want to join the top 10% of salespeople in your field. The first is called pre-call research. During this stage, you gather all the information you possibly can, including information on the internet about the person you are going to see. The more pre-call research you do, the more intelligent and impressive you will sound when you finally sit down with your customer. The second part of preparation is pre-call objectives. This is where you think through and plan your coming sales call in detail in advance. Imagine your sales manager were riding along with you and he asked you, who are you going to see and what are you going to ask And what result or results do you hope to achieve from this sales call? Whatever your answers would be to that question, think them through before you go in to see the customer. The best of all is for you to prepare a list of questions in sequence that you're going to ask your customer when you sit down with him or her. Customers love salespeople who are thoroughly prepared with an outline when they come on a sales call. The third part of preparation is called post-call analysis. This is where you sit down immediately after the call and write down every single point of information that you can recall from the recent discussion. Don't trust to memory, and don't wait till the end of the day. Write down every single fact you can remember immediately after the call. Then, when you see the customer again, review all of your notes for a few minutes so that when you go in, you are fresh, alert, and wide awake with regard to the customer and his or her situation. You cannot imagine how impressive this is to the average customer to be called upon by a truly professional salesperson who has done his or her homework. The sixth key to peak performance selling is continuous learning. Continuous learning is the minimum requirement for success in selling today. The future belongs to the learners. The highest paid salespeople spend 5 and 10 times as much money and time on themselves and on learning as the average salesperson. There are 3 keys to becoming one of the highest paid salespeople in your field. I've given this advice to hundreds of thousands of salespeople, and not one of them has ever come back and said that these ideas didn't work. In some cases, people have doubled and tripled their incomes in sales in as little as 30 days by practicing these 3 continuous learning ideas. First, get up early each morning and read for 1 hour in selling. Forget the newspaper. Leave the television off. Instead, read, underline, and make notes in a good book on selling. Then, all day long, practice what you read in the morning. If you read 1 hour per day, that will translate into about 1 book per week. 1 book per week will translate into 50 books per year. Since the average salesperson reads less than 1 book per year, if you read 50 books per year, that will give you a competitive edge that no one will ever be able to make up. The second key to continuous learning is for you to listen to audio programs like this in your car. As a sales professional, you spend about 1,000 hours each year behind the wheel. Turn your car into a learning machine. Turn your car into a university on wheels. As we say, enroll at Automobile University and then attend full-time for the rest of your career. According to research at the University of Southern California, you can get the equivalent of full-time university attendance by listening to educational audio programs as you drive from place to place. Never let your car be running without educational audio programs playing along. The third key to continuous learning is for you to take all the training you can get. Attend seminars and courses on professional selling. Be aggressive about seeking them out in your community. Many of the top salespeople I know will fly hundreds and even thousands of miles to attend sales conferences. And the difference that it makes in their sales results is amazing. I have countless friends around the country and throughout the world who started off at the very bottom and who are today earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per year as the result of continuous learning. And so can you. The seventh key to peak performance in selling is responsibility. The highest paid sales professionals accept 100% responsibility for their lives and for everything that happens to them. They see themselves as the presidents of their own professional sales corporations. They view themselves as self-employed. They say, if it's to be, it's up to me. They refuse to make excuses or to blame anyone else for anything in their lives that they're not happy with. If they don't like something, they know that it is up to them to get busy and change it. They accept complete responsibility and they refuse to complain or criticize about anything. The wonderful thing is that the more responsibility you accept, the more you like and respect yourself. And the more you like and respect yourself, the more optimistic and positive you are. The more creative and constructive you are. The more powerful and irresistible you become. And the better you feel, the more you sell. The more you sell, the better you feel. Eventually, you become unstoppable, like a force of nature. When you think all day long the way that the top salespeople think, you eventually get the same results that the top salespeople get. This has worked for every single person who has ever tried it, and it will work for you. The eighth key to peak performance selling is for you to understand the AIDA model, A-I-D-A. The AIDA model is the basic sales process, and it's been successful throughout the entire history of man. The 4 letters in AIDA stand for attention, interest, desire, and action. Whenever you are having problems in your sales, it is because you are falling down in one of these 4 areas. The first letter, attention, means that before you can sell to someone, you must break their preoccupation and get them to listen to you and to pay attention to you. Everyone today is busy, and therefore every sales call is an interruption of something else that the customer is doing. To get a customer's attention, you must ask a question or present an idea that aims at a specific benefit that the customer wants or a specific need that the customer has. You must answer the question that the customer has, which is, why should I listen to you? The second letter in the AIDA model, I, stands for interest. You arouse interest by showing features of your product or service, by explaining how your product or service functions to improve the life or work of the customer. The third letter, D, stands for desire. This is where you explain the benefits that the customer will enjoy from using your product or service. Remember, it is features that arouse interest, but it is desire that causes the prospect to buy. If your prospect says something like, I want to think it over, what he or she is really saying is that you have not aroused buying desire high enough for me to proceed at this time. The last letter in the AIDA model, A, stands for action. This is where you ask the customer to make a definite buying decision, to take action on your offer. This is where you close the sale. For you to be a top salesperson, you must become expert in all 4 areas. Analyze yourself carefully and grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 to determine how well you are doing today. Ask your colleagues and ask your sales manager to grade you as well. Go to work on the skill area that can help you the most. The 9th key to peak performance selling is called relationship selling. All selling today and for the rest of your career will be based on the quality of your relationships that you build with your customer. Because of the complexity of your product or service, customers are unable to make an accurate judgment of really what it is you are selling. They have to depend upon how they feel about you. For customers today, the relationship comes first. It is actually more important than the product or service itself in making the buying decision. More than 20 years of research and more than 55,000 interviews with customers have proved that the bigger the sale and the longer the purchase decision lasts once it's made, the more important is the relationship at the beginning. The relationship selling model is based on trust. You develop trust by asking the customer about his or her needs and then by listening intently to the answers. The more you ask good questions and listen, the more the customer trusts you and opens up to you. Eventually, if the customer trusts you enough, the customer will tell you everything you need to know to either make a sale or to determine that this customer is not a good prospect. The very best salespeople are relationship experts. They focus all of their energy and emotions on the relationship before they begin talking about their product or service. And as a result, they sell far more than the average. They get far more sales and far more referrals. They move to the top of their fields. You should do the same. The 10th key to peak performance selling is called consultative selling. As we said before, in consultative selling, you position yourself as a consultant, as an expert, as an advisor, as a helper and teacher in the sales process. Above all, you position yourself as a problem solver. As a consultant, you ask good questions and you listen carefully to the answers. When you are selling to businesses, you position yourself as a financial improvement specialist. This means that you show the customer how his or her business can be financially better off as the result of using your product or service. You continually point out how the customer can achieve more of his or her business goals as the result of following your advice and recommendations. You position yourself as an unpaid member of the customer's staff, helping him or her to improve the operation of his or her business. This is consultative selling. The 11th key to peak performance selling is called educational selling. In educational selling, you take a low-pressure, no-pressure approach. You do not try to influence or persuade the customer in any way. You simply ask good questions and listen closely to the answers. You lean forward and take notes. You position yourself as a teacher and as a helper rather than as a salesperson. By asking questions, you learn how your customer can be better off by using what you are selling. Your lesson plan for the sales call consists of teaching the customer how he or she can best use your product or service and benefit from it the most in his or her life and work. The more you teach your customer how to get the very most out of what you sell, the more your customer likes you, trusts you, and wants to do business with you over and over again. The 12th key to peak performance selling is mega credibility. Today, it takes credibility for you to get an appointment with a customer, but it takes mega credibility for you to get the sale. Mega credibility is defined as credibility that is far above and beyond an appeal to just quality and service. It is credibility that is far beyond anything that your competitors might be offering at the same time. There are 5 keys to building mega credibility. The first is the salesperson, yourself. Your credibility is so important that you can make or break the sale simply by your appearance and by your personality. There are three parts to personal mega credibility. They are dress, grooming, and accessories. Top salespeople dress for success. You should read a book on the subject of dressing for success in business for men or women, and then make sure that you look like the kind of person that a customer would be comfortable taking advice from or giving money to. Look at the top salespeople in your field and both dress and groom yourself the way they do. Fully 95% of the first impression you make on a customer will be made by your clothes. This is because your clothes cover 95% of your body. Don't leave anything to chance. The second part of mega credibility is the reputation of your company, how long it has been in business, and how large it is. Fully 85% of sales today are based on word of mouth. This goes back to positioning and how your company is thought of and talked about by customers and non-customers in the marketplace. The bigger and more positive your reputation, the easier it is for customers to accept your recommendations and to go ahead with the purchase. The third part of mega credibility is testimonials. A letter from a satisfied customer, a list of happy customers, or even photographs of happy customers builds mega credibility in the sales conversation. Often, people will not buy a product or service until they know who else has bought the product or service and been happy with it. Be sure to volunteer this information clearly in your sales conversation. The fourth part of mega credibility is the presentation. A well thought out, completely professional, customer-focused presentation adds value to the product or service and actually increases the price you can charge for it. A good presentation builds credibility to a high level, and the credibility overcomes the fear and misgivings that hold most customers back. The fifth ingredient of mega credibility is the product or service itself. Your presentation should demonstrate clearly that the customer will be much better off with what you are selling than he or she would be with a competitive product or with the money that it costs. The sale is made in the presentation. And here is the great rule for sales success. It is this: everything counts. Everything counts. Everything you do in a sales situation either helps or hurts. It either moves you toward the sale or moves you away. It is either increasing your credibility or decreasing your credibility. But nothing is neutral. Everything counts. All top sales professionals know that everything counts. They leave nothing to chance. And neither should you. The 13th key to peak performance selling is handling objections effectively. The fact is that objections are good. Objections indicate interest. Successful sales have twice as many objections as unsuccessful sales. To handle objections effectively, you should hear them out completely without interrupting. Remember, listening builds trust, even with objections. You should complement the objection by saying, "That's a good question. Let me see if I can answer it for you." Here are 3 responses you can use to any objection. First, you can pause, smile, and then ask the words, "How do you mean?" This question is almost impossible not to answer. You can use it over and over again in a sales conversation. How do you mean? Or, how do you mean exactly? Another response to an objection can be, "Obviously you have a good reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is?" Often the customer does not have a good reason for objecting, and this will help to clarify that. You can alternate this question with the question, "How do you mean?" Or, "Obviously you have a good reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? The third way you can handle objections is by using the feel, felt, found method. When a customer says something like, "It costs too much," you can reply by saying, "I understand exactly how you feel. Others felt the same way when they first heard the price, but this is what they found when they began using our product or service." You then go on to explain that the benefits to the customer are greatly in excess of the added cost that the customer has to pay. Feel, felt, found. One final point with regard to objections. Fully 94% of sales in America are made on a non-price basis. Virtually every objection on the basis of price, therefore, is made for a reason other than price. Your job is to find the real reason. The 14th key to peak performance selling is closing the sale. Your ability to ask for the order at the end of the sales presentation or at the end of the sales process is absolutely essential to your success. Fortunately, tens of thousands of sales conversations have been videotaped, and we now know exactly how the highest paid salespeople close sales most of the time. There are 3 methods you can use. Before you close the sale, you ask this question. "Mr. Prospect, do you have any questions or concerns that I haven't covered so far?" If the customer says no, you can then lean forward and confidently ask for the buying decision. The first way to ask for the buying decision is the simplest of all. You say, "Well then, why don't you give it a try?" This is a disarmingly effective closing technique. Or, if you sell services, you can say, "Why don't you give us a try?" Or you can even say, "If you like it, why don't you take it?" You then reinforce this by adding the words, "and I'll take care of all the details." Often, a customer didn't know how much he or she wanted it until you offered to take care of all the details. The second closing technique you can use is called the directive close. You use these words with the directive close. You say, "Well then, the next step is this." You then go on to describe the plan of action, and you wrap up the sale just as if the person had said, "I'll take it." You can also add the words, "and I'll take care of all the details." This is the most popular closing technique used by the highest paid salespeople in every industry. The third closing technique is called the authorization close. At the end of the sales conversation, you take out your order form, place a check mark next to the signature line, push the order form across the desk, and say these words. "Well then, if you'll just authorize this, we'll get started right away." Sometimes the customer didn't even know how badly he or she wanted it until you offered to get started right away. Remember, the future belongs to the askers. The future belongs to people who ask for appointments, ask for information, and ask for the order. Never be afraid to ask for what you want. This is the key to making sales. Key number 15 to peak performance selling is to be aware of your most valuable asset. Your most valuable asset is your earning ability. It is your ability to earn money. It is your ability to go out each day and apply your skills to your world in order to earn a wonderful living. The most successful salespeople in every field work on increasing their earning ability every single day. Remember, you can enjoy one of the highest standards of living ever imagined by man on this earth because you can apply your earning ability to your world. You should never take it for granted. The 16th key to peak performance selling is to use your time well. The most precious resource you have is your time. It is all you really have to sell. In fact, your entire lifestyle today, your home, your car, your bank account, and so on, are the result of how you have traded your time in the past. The very best use of your time is to increase your earning ability. It is for you to get better in your key result areas. You should pay any price, make any sacrifice, and overcome any obstacle to becoming absolutely excellent in selling, to increase your earning ability so that you can enjoy a wonderful standard of living year after year. And it's completely up to you. Key number 17 to peak performance selling is the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule says that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. It says that 20% of your prospects will account for 80% of your customers. 20% of your customers will account for 80% of your sales. 20% of your products and services will account for 80% of your sales volume, and so on. In its simplest terms, you must always be focusing your time and energy on the few things, the 20% of things, that can make all the difference in your life. Your ability to do this will guarantee that you will be a big success. The inability to focus on the top 20% is the primary reason for failure, frustration, and underachievement in the sales profession. Make a list every day before you begin work. Organize your list on the basis of the 80-20 rule. Start on your top 20% of tasks and stay with them until they are complete. Key number 18 to peak performance selling is called the sales funnel. There are 3 parts to professional selling. They have been the same throughout all the ages of man. They are to prospect, present, and follow up. These 3 parts of the process constitute the sales funnel. At the top of the sales funnel, you have prospects. Let us say that you have to prospect 20 people to get 5 presentations. In the middle of the sales funnel, you have presenting. Let us say that you have to make 5 presentations to get 2 follow-ups. At the bottom of the sales funnel, you have following up and closing. Let us say, for example, that you have to follow up with 2 prospects to get 1 sale. What this means is that you have to put 20 prospects in the top of the funnel to get 1 sale out of the bottom of the funnel. The rule is this: keep your hopper full. Spend 80% of your time prospecting and presenting, and spend only 20% of your time following up. And don't mix them up. You should have far more prospects in your funnel than you have time to see if you work all day long. Never allow yourself to run out of prospects. Keep your funnel full. Remember, you have to go through a lot of prospects to get a very few sales. The 19th key to peak performance selling is clear income and sales goals. Remember, you can't hit a target that you can't see. The highest paid salespeople have very clear sales and income goals broken down by year, month, week, day, and even by the hour. For example, let us say that you want to earn $50,000 next year, and you earn an average of 5% commission on sales. This means that you will have to sell $1 million worth of your product next year in order to earn $50,000. You can now take these numbers and break them down by the number of months, weeks, and days that you intend to work. This will tell you that you will have to sell $83,333 per month of your product in order to earn $4,200 per month, or $50,000 by the end of the year. Here is a simple method you can use. Divide your $50,000 income goal by the number 250, the days you work in an average year. This comes out to $200 per day. You then divide the $200 per day by the number of hours, 8, the number that you work in an average day. This will give you the number 25, or $25. Now you know that to earn $50,000 per year, you must earn $25 per hour, 8 hours per day, 250 days a year. From this moment forward, you must discipline yourself and absolutely refuse to do anything that does not pay $25 per hour. And there are only 3 things that you can do throughout the day that pay $25 per hour. These are to prospect, present, and follow up. As it happens, the average salesperson, according to Columbia University, works only about 1.5 hours per day. The first sales call in America on average is usually made at about 11 a.m. The last sales call is usually made at about 3:30 p.m. In between, the average salesperson talks with his coworkers, drinks coffee, reads the paper, phones his or her friends or family, goes for lunch, and drives around. The average salesperson works only 1.5 hours per day, or about 20% of the time. And when is a salesperson working? Well, there are only 3 times when you're working. You are only working when you are prospecting, presenting, and following up. You can double your income by simply doubling the number of minutes that you spend each day face-to-face with qualified prospects. It's amazing but true. The more minutes you spend face-to-face with customers, the higher your income will be, even if you don't change another single thing about yourself or your skills. Just try it and see. The 20th key to peak performance selling is to manage your territory well. One of the major reasons for failure in selling is poor territory management. Salespeople drive all the way up to the north end of the city to make one call, and then all the way down to the south end of the city, spending an hour or more in traffic to make the second call. Then they drive all the way back to the north end again for the next call. This is definitely not for you. Take your sales territory and divide it into 4 parts. Resolve to work in one of these quadrants each day or each half day. When you make appointments, cluster your appointments so that they are close together. This will shorten the amount of time that you spend on the road and increase the number of minutes of each day where you are actually prospecting, presenting, and following up. Many salespeople, by reorganizing their territories, have increased their income by 20%, 30%, and even 50% in a single month. Remember, your time is all you have to sell, and nobody will pay you for driving around between appointments. You must increase the number of minutes that you spend face-to-face with customers by reducing your traveling time. The 21st key to peak performance selling is contained in the 7 secrets to sales success. Here they are. First, get serious. Make a decision to go all the way to the top of your field. Make a decision to join the top 10%. This decision could change your life. Second, identify your limiting skill to sales success. Identify your weakest single skill and make a plan to become absolutely excellent in that area. This decision alone can transform your career. Step number 3 is for you to get around the right people. Get around positive, successful people. Remember, you cannot fly with the eagles if you continue to scratch with the turkeys. Number 4, take excellent care of your physical health. Eat the right foods, get the right amount of exercise, and get regular rest and recreation. Resolve to live to be 80 years old and begin today to achieve that goal. Secret number 5 is for you to visualize yourself as one of the top people in your field. See yourself performing at your best all day long. This has a tremendous impact on your self-image and your self-esteem. Success secret number 6 is for you to practice continual positive self-talk. Control your inner dialogue. Talk to yourself the way you want to be rather than the way you are or the way you might be today. For example, repeat to yourself these powerful words over and over again. I like myself. I'm the best. I can do it. I love my work. Remember, fully 95% of your emotions are determined by the way you talk to yourself most of the time. And the way you feel determines how you behave. And how you behave leaps back and determines how you feel. Your job is to get yourself on an upward spiral where you think and talk to yourself positively all day long. You then think, walk, talk, and act like the very best people in your field. And when you do, your success becomes inevitable. Success secret number 7 is for you to take positive action toward your goals every single day. Be proactive rather than reactive. Grab the bull by the horns. If you're not happy with your income, get out there and get face-to-face with more customers. If you're not happy with any part of your life, accept responsibility and take charge. All successful salespeople are intensely action-oriented. They have a sense of urgency. They develop a bias for action. They do it now. They have a compulsion to closure. They practice fast tempo, and they move quickly in everything they do. And so should you. The good news is this. The faster you move, the more energy you have. The faster you move, the more ground you cover. The faster you move, the more people you see. The more people you see, the more experience you get. The more people you see, the more sales you make. The more people you see and the more sales you make, the more your self-esteem and self-respect goes up. The more you feel like a winner, the more energy you have, the happier you are, the more positive you become. The faster you move, the more you take complete control of your entire life and virtually guarantee that you will be one of the top performers and one of the highest paid people in your field. Let me wrap up with these few points. I started my life with no benefits or advantages at all. I blessed the day that I got into selling. The field of selling offered me and offers you all the great joys, benefits, and possibilities in life. And the better you get at selling, the more respected and important you become to your company, to your community, and to your world. The salespeople are among the most important people in America. Every single company depends for its survival on the success of the salespeople. High sales is the #1 reason for company success. Low sales is the #1 reason for company failure. And you are in the driver's seat. Over the past 20 years, I have trained more than 1 million salespeople in 23 countries. I have trained people who have come to this country with no money, no friends, no contacts, and very often no ability to speak English. But they have taken these ideas, practiced them over and over again, and then gone on to become sales leaders in major national organizations. The law of cause and effect is the iron law of human destiny. What it says is that anything that anyone else has done, you can do as well, as long as you find out what it is and do it over and over again yourself. Remember, no one is better than you, and no one is smarter than you. They have just learned the 21 great ways to become a sales superstar, and they practice these great ways every single day. When you begin practicing these ideas every single day, you will see the results almost immediately. And I hope you do. Good luck. Hello, this is Brian Tracy again, and I'd like to tell you about a multi-thousand-dollar gift that I've designed just for you. Let me explain what it is and how you can get it completely free. If you own your own business, or if you're thinking of starting a business, the rule is that what you don't know can hurt you. And boy, is it ever hurting a lot of business owners and would-be business owners today. As you know, 80% of businesses fail within 2 to 4 years. But the research is interesting. 90% of businesses started by people who have the necessary knowledge and skill go on to succeed. The key is knowledge and skill. Well, Dun & Bradstreet conducted many years of research into the reasons why businesses failed, and they found that there was one primary reason for business success and one big reason for business failure. The reason for business success, as you can guess, was high sales. The reason for business failure, as you can guess as well, was low sales. And the number one reason for low sales and profitability is a lack of essential business skills. What they don't know is killing them. Everything your business does from dawn till dusk, from Monday to Friday, affects your sales in some way. From choosing the product or service, to pricing it, to marketing it, to selling it, to delivering it, and everything else in between. Today we find that business owners are working harder and harder and earning less and less. According to the Kauffman Foundation on Entrepreneurship, the top group of thinkers in the country on this subject, 95% of business owners earn less than $50,000 per year. This is quite astonishing when you think about how hard they work to earn that amount of money. It's not that they're not hardworking and ambitious and desirous of great things. It's just that they don't know the key business skills. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the essential skills they need to succeed. Abraham Lincoln once said, "If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe." You know, it's interesting. Jim Rohn used to say that work on your job will make you a living, but working on yourself will make you a fortune. And it's certainly true in business. So the key to your success in business is to learn what you need to learn so that you know what you're going to do in every single area. Now, here's the multi-thousand-dollar gift I was telling you about earlier. To help you rapidly increase your sales and profitability in whatever business you're in, we've created a business profitability assessment. It's a 30-part questionnaire that you can complete in 10 minutes. And what it does is it gives you a snapshot, like an X-ray, or a total diagnosis and analysis of your business in every key area. You simply evaluate yourself on a series of scales and submit your answers. You then get back a complete business appraisal that tells you exactly where you are and what you need to get any further. This business profitability assessment is completely free. There's no charge and no obligation. It's our gift to you to help you. It's based on my experience with more than 10,000 businesses and more than 5 million students in 54 countries. I've worked all over the world for 25 years developing these questions, and these questions just sort of hit the nerve. So it can be very, very helpful to you. It will give you a clear picture of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. This is the typical SWOT analysis, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. When you submit your answers to this assessment, you'll immediately receive back at no charge a complete series of recommendations and instructions to increase your sales and profitability. Sometimes you are only one idea or one strategy away from dramatically increasing your sales, cash flow, and profitability. Sometimes one idea at the right time and the right place can be worth a fortune to you. And what we'll do is we'll give you so many ideas you won't know where to start. So I want you to go to www.briantracy.com/BGS, which stands for Business Growth Strategies, right now, and download your free Business Profitability Assessment. Complete it, which you can do in just a few minutes, submit it, and immediately learn the most important things you can do to boost your sales and your profitability. This is a free gift from me to you. No charge, no obligation. Just take it, fill it out, and we'll give it back to you. Then you can decide what you want to do with it from then on. So why don't you give it a try? Go to www.briantracy.com/BGS, complete the Business Profitability Assessment, and remember, this could be the smartest thing you ever do. Thank you for listening. I wish you a great day. Hello, this is Brian Tracy, and thank you for listening to this program. I want you to stick around at the end of this program because I'm going to make you an offer that you can't refuse. I'm going to make you an offer, especially if you're a business owner or you're thinking of starting a business that could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars to you, and it's completely free. No charge. It's no cost, no obligation, completely free. So stick around and let me explain it to you when we get to the end of this program. All right, let's begin.
Your goal as a sales professional is to sell the very most and earn the very most that you possibly can. As it turns out, it takes just as long to become a sales superstar as to remain an average performer. The choice is up to you. Your host for this program, Brian Tracy, knows what he's talking about. Brian has been in sales for more than 30 years and still makes sales calls and presentations today. Brian started off from a poor home, didn't graduate from high school, and worked at laboring jobs before getting into sales. He struggled along in sales, working on straight commission, until he did something that changed his life and his career. He started asking other successful salespeople what they were doing that was different from him. And they told him, and he did what they were doing, and his sales went up. From then on, Brian has made a lifelong study of the most successful salespeople and the most effective sales techniques. They took him from rags to riches. And you can do the same. In this program, Brian shares with you 21 of the most powerful ideas ever discovered in sales effectiveness. When you start using them, you'll move to the top of your field. And now, here's Brian Tracy.
Hello, this is Brian Tracy, and welcome to this program. This is the best time in all of human history to be alive, especially in the profession of selling. There have never been more opportunities for you to achieve more of your goals and enjoy a higher standard of living than exists today in our marketplace. And if anything, your situation is going to get better and better in the months and years ahead. As our society becomes more and more high-tech, it will require more and more high-touch in the field of selling to balance it out. And the better you get at selling, the more opportunities you will have. According to recent research, fully 5% of self-made millionaires in America are salespeople who have sold for another company or companies all their lives. The reason they are successful is because they became very, very good at selling and earned a very high income. They then saved and invested a substantial part of that as they went along. And so can you. Let me tell you my own story. I started off poor. My parents never had any money. My father worked as a carpenter, not always full-time, and my mother worked as a nurse. I didn't graduate from high school. In fact, I was so badly behaved in high school that I was expelled or suspended 3 or 4 times. When I started off, after I got out of school, the only work I could get was at laboring jobs. I washed dishes in the back of a small hotel. I worked in a sawmill stacking boards. I worked on a farm digging wells. I worked in construction as a laborer carrying construction materials from place to place. I worked on farms and ranches. I worked on a ship in the North Atlantic. And finally, when I couldn't get a laboring job, I drifted into straight commission sales. I wasn't afraid to work, but hard work didn't seem to be enough. I made hundreds of calls without making any sales. I used to run from office to office and from door to door so that I could see more people, but I was just barely hanging on by my fingernails. Then one day I began to ask, why is it that some salespeople are more successful than others? I heard that the top 20% of salespeople in every field earned 80% of the money. The top 10% earned even more. So I did something that changed my life. I went to the top salesman in my company and I asked him what he was doing differently from me. And he told me. He told me how to ask questions and how to develop a sales presentation. He told me how to respond to common objections and how to ask for orders. And I went out and did what he told me to do, and my sales went up. Then I heard about books on selling. I began to read 1 and 2 hours every morning before I started out, and my sales went up even more. Then I heard about audio programs and sales seminars. And as I listened to more audio programs and attended more seminars, I learned what the best salespeople had taken years to learn. And my sales went up and up and up. In less than 1 year, I went from shuffling from door to door, making 1 or 2 small sales per week, to managing a 6-country sales organization and earning thousands of dollars a month. And all I really did was to find out how other top salespeople sold, and then I did the same thing until I got the same result. And so can you. The great law of human destiny, especially in sales, is the law of cause and effect. This law says that if there is an effect that you want in your life, you can find someone else who has also achieved that effect and then find out what they did to get it, and then if you do the same things, you will eventually get the same results. This is exactly how people have gone from failure to success in every field of life throughout history. The most important application of the law of cause and effect is this: thoughts are causes, and conditions are effects. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. You invariably attract into your life the people, circumstances, opportunities, and even sales that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. Perhaps the most important discovery in human history, the foundation of all religions, philosophies, metaphysics, and psychology, is this: you become what you think about most of the time. Just think. You become what you think about most of the time. And since only you can decide what it is you think about, only you can decide what really happens to you in life. Over the last 25 years, more than 350,000 salespeople have been interviewed to find out what it is that they think about most of the time. Then their incomes have been compared with their thought patterns to determine what thoughts go along with the highest incomes. And do you know what the top salespeople think about most of the time? It's simple. They think about what they want and how to get it. They think and talk all day long about their goals and how to achieve their goals. And because the more you think about your goals, the more positive and enthusiastic you become, these salespeople seem to sell 5 and 10 and 20 times as much as the average salesperson who thinks about his or her problems most of the time. Here's the rule. If you think like the top salespeople think, you eventually get the same results that the top salespeople get. Some salespeople are satisfied earning $25,000 a year. Other salespeople would be dissatisfied if their income dropped below $100,000 a year. And here's an interesting fact. There's no real difference between the people who are earning a small amount and the people who are earning a huge amount. They have very much the same level of talent or ability. They're surrounded with very much the same number of opportunities and possibilities. The only difference is that the highest earning salespeople have decided to earn that amount, and the only question they ask all day long is the question, how? The most important single quality for great success in selling is the quality of optimism. Top salespeople are far more optimistic than average people. As a result, they make far more calls on far more prospects because they have an optimistic, even unrealistic expectation of success. And in addition, they call back far more often on prospects because of this optimistic expectation of success. As a result of calling on more people and calling back more often, they make far more sales. When they make more sales, this reinforces their belief in making more calls and calling back more often. It becomes a self-perpetuating feedback loop that leads them higher and higher in income and success. And this can happen to you when you follow the 21 steps we'll talk about in the pages ahead. There's a direct relationship between your self-esteem, how much you like yourself, and how well you do in sales. The highest paid and most successful salespeople have the highest levels of self-esteem. And every time you say the words, "I like myself, I like myself, I like myself," your self-esteem goes up. And the more you like yourself, the better you do. The better you do, the more you like yourself. Mental fitness is like physical fitness. If you do certain mental exercises every day, you will soon have high levels of self-esteem, optimism, and a positive mental attitude. As you like yourself more, you will like other people more. When you like your prospects more, they like you more, and they want to buy from you and recommend you to their friends. And everything that I'm telling you here has been thoroughly validated by exhaustive research over the past 50 years. The starting point of great success is for you to begin to think the way the top salespeople think. As it happens, each time you think the way a top salesperson thinks, your level of self-esteem goes up. You like yourself more. You become more optimistic and creative. You become more happy and effective. You have more energy and determination. You make more calls and better presentations. You make more sales and you make more money. Your whole life opens up for you like a summer sunrise when you develop and practice the characteristics and qualities of top salespeople. Let's begin. The first key to peak performance selling is ambition. This is so important that you could stop the tape right here and you could go out and be a big success if you could just develop high levels of ambition. Ambitious people see themselves as capable of being the best. They know that the top 20% of salespeople make 80% of the sales, and they are determined to be among that top group. Ambitious salespeople are optimistic about their chances and possibilities. They're absolutely convinced that they can achieve their goals by selling lots and lots of their products and services. And they're completely determined to do it. Perhaps the most important first step you take in the field of selling is to make a commitment to excellence. To make a commitment to be the best in your field. Resolve today that you are going to join the top 10% in your industry in terms of earnings. Now here's something that changed my life when I was 28 years old. After going around in circles for years, it suddenly hit me. Everyone in the top 10% today started in the bottom 10%. Everyone who is doing well today was once doing poorly. Everybody who is at the front of the line of life started at the back of the line. Now, let me ask you something. How do you get to the front of the buffet line of life where all the good stuff is waiting for you? And the answer is simple. It consists of 2 steps. First, get in line. It's absolutely amazing the number of people who want to get to the front of the line of life and admire all the people who are already at the front of the line of life, but they don't get up and get in line themselves. And the second step you have to make is to stay in line. Once you have decided to be the best in your field, get in line and stay in line. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep developing one new skill and ability each day, each week, each month that moves you forward. And as sure as God made little green apples, you are going to get to the front of the line in your profession. There is nothing in the world that can stop you from becoming one of the best and highest paid people in sales if you will just get in line and stay in line. Here is the turning point in your life. Make a decision. I was absolutely amazed when I discovered this many years ago. The dividing line between success and failure is very simply your ability to make a clear-cut, unequivocal decision that you are going to be the best, and then back your decision with persistence and determination until you reach your goal. The world is full of people who are hoping and wishing and praying that their lives could be better, but they never make that kind of do-or-die decision that leads to great success. Since you become what you think about, you also become what you say to yourself over and over on a regular basis. So you should repeat to yourself over and over again the wonderful words, "I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best," until those words come true in your life. And they surely will if you don't give up.